which we've talked about, 24-11 at this point in time. But it's the 7 shots a goal, 3-4 versus 2 points that would be concerning for Justin Longmuir.
Up the line, Tracy continues to compete. And it stays in play for Frederick. He'll have the pace if the ball sits for him. It wasn't a kind bounce. Tracy continues to move forward, and the Dockers are out as it lands with Voss. He's got a man on in the pocket. He's trying to roll and go quickly. Great vision, O'Driscoll.
Good transition from Freo and the width here from the wingman. Sometimes it can be lonely, scary playing out the wing. He's holding that width, O'Driscoll. He was hoping this ball gets transferred inboard.
It's been a skinny game because of the high contest mode. It means there's not a lot of switch and change direction, so it has been lonely out there so far.
Made his return last week from an ankle injury. Hasn't played a lot of footy the last couple of seasons, but he has an impact when he plays. Big goal for Fremantle just before the half to Nathan O'Driscoll.
So their turnover game's in really good shape. The Dockers 5-3 to 1-2, and a lot of it has come off some of this sort of stuff. Long down the line, get some speed off the contest. Frederick was away there, by the way, but Tracy has recovered. Nice ball use, and then you just kick it to your free player. But the issue we've highlighted, and this is where the Saints haven't been able to get their game down to turnover.
Yeah, I mean, it's only an issue for St Kilda there, but 3 of the 5 goals from Fremantle are now from backward of centre, so they're playing a transition game, which is what Ross wants, I think. You know, he wants to dominate the stoppage, wants to dominate inside, and wants to get field position. Fremantle, on the other hand, are trying to get that transition game going, which they are, but it's a good battle right now for both sides.
His pressure's been up. Out of the middle is the big question. Again, the Saints do it well. Steele just soccering it forward. Clark led them to it. Johnson, clean, tackle. Got it out, but went defensively. Banfield, Brayshaw, run down, driven to the turf. Terrific tackle again.
He's been huge today. Hall, chase and tackle, and the pressure that he's been putting on. That's his 6th tackle.
He's been brilliant in that department. Gives his side an opportunity to go into attack again. He drives it into the pocket. Sharman rocks with the spoil. Steele attacked it away. Sharman, quick snap. Misses, hits the post. They just haven't had that slice of luck inside 50.
Well, they need it only because almost every player on the ground was inside their 50 just then.
Minute to go till the half. Clark down the line. Darcy and Marshall wrestle. Caminiti tapped it for Wilson. Garcia's been busy on his return to the team. He touches in the VFL last week. Keeler cleverly knocked it down. Clark slipped it through. Ball from 50. Tees it up. Out the back. Mason Wood drifting in. An opportunity here for St Kilda.
Caleb Sarong had a decision made there. He tried to press, but defensively not good enough there because St Kilda inside. And this is a prime example. You can see that handball there. They're just too quick of hand at the moment for Freo to handle.
Seconds tick down till half time. Mason Wood can be so crafty around the goals. He'll kick it quickly as he starts to play on. He goes around, he whips it in, and another poster. Twice in the space of a couple of minutes. They've hit the woodwork, and there's no doubting how frustrated he is. That would have given the Saints the lead at the half and maybe just a little momentum. They're up for the challenge. They're up for the fight. They're taking it right up to Fremantle. And it is game on at the major break. The Saints midfield dominating. Many discussions going on amongst teammates and between umpires and players as well. The game is set up. It's the Dockers by 3 points.
All right, how you going, everyone? Welcome in. Fremantle Dockers taking on the Saints, of course, over there at Optus Stadium in Perth. Emmanuel, Addy G, shouty, 6 at half time. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. I tell you what, 5-5-35 the Dockers, 4-8-32 the Saints. The Saints, well, I tell you what, they're giving it a good hard crack against Fremantle. I tell you what, it's going to be a good test for the Dockers. Can they hang on? Can they hang on and win these close games? These are the type of games that they've got to win. They've got to win. You know, a home game, a game that means so much to the Dockers, a super important game, which just for Addy G, there's the live ladder to keep Fremantle inside the top 8. Let's just turn the live ladder off. There we go. Fremantle hanging on by the skin of the teeth in 8th position. Turn the live ladder on. They're a game clear. They're in 6th position. I tell you what, Dockers, they need to win this game. No questions about it. No questions about it. I didn't have a look and see who the ins and outs were for you. Let's check those in and check those out. For the Dockers, Oscar McDonald coming in with Isaiah Dudley, Sean Darcy coming in. The outs for Freo, Josh Draper, James Ace, Jeremy Sharp, all the J's. Of course, the sub. Well, look at this. The sub is Nat Fife. Wonder when they're going to bring him on to the ground. That'll be interesting. Possibly 5 minutes ago in the third term, they might bring him on, just thinking. And of course, for the Saints, Hugo Garcia comes in with Jack Carroll, Liam Henry going out, Jimmy Webster, Bradley Hill, Ryan Brines going out. And of course, Jack Carroll was the sub. That's right. Their percentage is bad. You know what? And that could hurt them at the end. That could hurt them at the end, that percentage. Let's just check their percentage again. 110. Of course, that is by far the lowest of any team in the top 8. Well, apart from the Brisbane Lions up there at 113, but they still are a half a game clear. So that half a game, that draw they had, that's like all the percentage you need for the Brisbane Lions. But that percentage, they really need to start and win some games and win them by margins. You know, at least if that's there, they could be up there tackling Geelong and Hawthorn. The only thing is, Geelong's got Richmond next week, so they're going to put on some percentage. Not sure who Hawthorn are playing next week. Looking at the goal scorers, though, not too many in the opening term, folks. Josh Tracy leads the way for the Fremantle Dockers. Freo, way to go. Hit him with the high and hit him with the low. Oh, Freo. He's got 2 goals for Freo, kicking straight. He's only had 4 kicks, but he's kicked 2 goals straight. Well done. Murphy Reid, Nathan O'Driscoll, and Jordan Clark are the other singles for the Dockers. Of course, for the Saints, there we go. They got God on their side. The Saints, Wanganeen Miller, he's got 1. Rowan Marshall, Isaac Keeler, and Liam Henry are the other single goal scorers there for the Saints. All right, we'll come and have a look at the player stats in a moment. Let's just head back to the commentators. If we win, there's still a chance. Oh, definitely still a chance for top 4. Top 4. Well, why not? You're equal third. It's just a percentage you're out. So it's whoever falls. I think Adelaide's got Melbourne next week. Geelong's got Richmond. Brisbane's got Port Adelaide at home. Not sure who Hawthorn got. So interesting games. All right, let's just head back to the commentators for a bit of analysis on the opening half.
Possession. Freo right now have a decision to make about, okay, can we put up with what we know? They've talked the talk all week about saying, okay, we know Windhager's in there. We know they're going to send numbers up. Well, right now to half-time, they haven't been able to handle this, the contested possession and the clearance dominance from the Saints.
Yeah, we spoke to a couple of people inside Freo before the game, didn't we, Pav? And they've had the 10-day break. There's a couple just maybe a little concerned with how they were going to apply themselves today. It hasn't been as good as we've seen. I think they did send an extra number to stoppage Freo during that quarter, and they still couldn't get it done. So do they send another?
It's a question to Caleb Sarong, to Andy Brayshaw, to that elite midfield group who normally get it done. Can they deal with the pressure? Can they handle the heat? Because at this point in time, they're getting absolutely dominated around the ball.
Tell you who is bringing pressure, and that is Josh Tracy. Let's roll his highlights clip from the first half. I think the personal highlight was that slips catch and finished it off with a goal. He's got a couple of goals and then a great chase down tackle. But what have you liked? Former's kick, Matthew Pavan.
I was able to get out the back on this occasion, and he's up against Cal Welker, who's a tremendous player. Here's the slips catch and the one-step kick around the corner, and that's why it makes him such a good player. But here, I love this, Scully.
Yeah, well, the one-on-one mark and the goal, that's all fine. But he has run 100 metres here to go and put pressure on St Kilda's best player in Isaiah Wanganeen-Miller, and I just think that is the action of the game, superb. And if we see anything to do with the tribunal from it, I'll spew up. I'll tell you what, it's just brilliant, that sort of stuff. And so is that. That's going to hurt that one.
Well, you could see that knee, and there was big concern there for a while that he was done for the match, broken rib, or maybe even worse, sort of inner organ type of damage, Kath. But he got back out there, and like every good key forward, they try their best.
He's tough, isn't he? But that chase down tackle, that work off the ball, that's exactly what Justin Longmuir was talking about when everyone was mentioning how he'd gone 3 games straight without kicking a goal. Well, it's that sort of pressure that he brings. Now, you said you'll spew if that gets any MRO attention. So let's bring in the expert, and that is the Herald Sun's John Ralph. Ralphie, tell us. Come on, there's nothing in this, surely.
Well, I think Will's on safe ground, thankfully, for all of us out there. Hey, look, the MRO will look at this one, if only for the fact that Naz's head was dragged into the ground. But look at the way that he doesn't pin arms. I think you could argue that neither of his arms are pinned. But remember, of course, that Paul Curtis pinned arm tackle with both of them earlier in the season. I think he does a brilliant job of that. So even if there's contact to the ground, I think no case to answer. He takes on Sydney next week.
Good to hear. Good to hear from everyone.
Great to hear.
We will make sure that hopefully the MRO is watching that. I think he's got a case that the 2 arms were free. That's the difference between that motion, because it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
But he did well.
But these players are running so fast, you can't make that decision. He doesn't know what the outcome's going to be because he's going 100 miles an hour. You can see the momentum is the result of what happens. But those sorts of moments, they change games. And I love that from Josh Tracy.
You two have a spell, freshen up. We're going to cross back to Ralphie next with all the other footy news. And as always on a Sunday evening on Fox, it is the Bounce and First Crack duo. So Jace and the crew will provide the laughs, and then we'll get the serious stuff with David King, Lee Montagna and Jay Clark.
There we go. You can watch the Bounce if you've got KO coming up after this game. There we go. As we were just saying, the Dockers, if they want to be contenders and not pretenders, they certainly need to win this game. They really want to draw away from St Kilda in this game and take it away from them in this third term. The grand final term, as they call it, the third quarter, kick away and put a margin on them. And, of course, next week they've got to travel. They're going to finally travel after about 5 or 6 weeks. They've got to head down to the SCG to play the Sydney Swans. Now, the Sydney Swans did play reasonably good football this week. Of course. They only went down by 9 points to the Western Bulldogs at home. So Fremantle, if you want to be contenders, not pretenders, there's another game that you've got to win as well, because the teams above Freo are certainly better than Sydney. So you've got to take it to them and spank them up there. Freo can't afford to rely on beating Collingwood at the G. Not this year. I tell you what. Exactly right. I tell you what, I know Freo have a little bit of trouble playing at the MCG, but you got to take their chances. Maybe it's just a bigger ground. It's the excitement. Maybe it's just Freo playing in front of a big crowd. The sort of, gets them a little bit on edge. But, if you want to be a good side, you got to get used to playing in front of big crowds. When you're playing the good sides, you got to get used to playing in front of 80,000 people out there roaring, cheering on your side. But I tell you what, let's actually hope this year Freo can stick in the top 8, because we know the disappointment the poor Freo fans had last year when, their destiny was on their boot and they took their boots off in that last game last season. I wouldn't mind playing Freo on grand final day. I tell you what, that would be the icing on the cake. That would be best possible scenario if the Pies could play Fremantle in the grand final. I'll tell you what. There we go. Sorry, all you Fremantle fans. Being a Collingwood supporter here, but that would be the best scenario for the Pies to play Fremantle. Let's get back and have a little bit of a look at the player stats up until half time. Believe it or not, it's mostly the St Kilda players on top there. Jack McRae there for the Saints on top with 17 disposals, 8 kicks, 9 handballs, 2 marks, 4 clearances, doing really well. Hugo Garcia, next best for the Saints on 16, 6 and 10, 5 clearances. Jack Steele on 15, Rowan Marshall on 15. He's having a good opening half there for the Saints. 11 kicks, 4 handballs, 3 marks, 3 tackles, 11 hitouts, 6 clearances, 1 goal, 1. Tell you what, they want to put a little bit of a stop on him if they can. Fremantle, He's tearing it up out there on the ground up until half time. For Freo, their leading ball magnet to half time is Jordan Clark with 14. 10 kicks, 4 handballs, 6 marks. He's had a clearance and a goal. Too bad. Luke Ryan, next best on 12. And then Andy Brayshaw. Yeah, we want to see Andy Brayshaw lift up a little bit. Want to get him up and firing. He's had the 12, 1 clearance. Need to get a little bit more out of him as we roll on down. Murphy Reid on 11. Windhager on 11 also for the Saints. Wanganeen Miller, well, he's a little bit quiet in the opening half, isn't he? He's just had the 9 touches. He slotted a goal, but still we need a little bit more from him as well. All right, let's just roll on down a little bit more. And of course, we've still got the, there's another one we want to have a little bit of a look at. Caleb Sarong. Come on, Caleb. We know you're better than this. 8 disposals up until half-time. Addy G, go and have a word to him. That's not quite enough for him. 5 kicks, 3 handballs. He's had a couple of marks, couple of tackles, 3 clearances. We just want a little bit more from Caleb out there in the second half. All right, who else we got there? Michael Frederick on 7 there. Shai Bolton on 7. He'll be dancing and trancing. He'll be looking for a goal at some stage in the second half, without doubt. Of course, Josh Tracy, as I said, the leading goal scorer on the ground for Freo. 5 disposals, 4 kicks, a handball, a mark, 2 tackles, 2 goals, 2 straight goals. Tell you what, at least he's kicking straight. Well done. That's what we'd like to see. Straight kicking. Of course, Nat Fife down there as a sub. Be good to see when he pops on to the ground. The crowd loves it. They'll give him a roar when he comes on. As we have a look at the team stats now, let's just check how far we got. We've still got 6 minutes before the bounce of the ball for the second half. Of course, it's plus 36 to the Saints. Of course, doing well. Come on, Freo. Get that back. There we go. What are they? 16, 22 kicks plus, and of course, just the 12 handballs. You know, that being said, folks, the Dockers been inside their forward 50 25 times, 4 more than St Kilda. 25 times inside their forward 50 for 10 scoring shots. St Kilda doing a little bit better for their 21 inside 50s. They've had 12 scoring shots, so they're going really well when they're going inside forward 50. Probably just a little bit lucky for the Dockers. The Saints aren't quite kicking that straight, Addy G. They're just not kicking that straight. So that certainly kept Freo in the game, and with the slight lead of 3 points up until half time. There we go. All right, disposal efficiency, not too bad for the Dockers. Slightly above season average, which is where you want to be. And, of course, the Saints slightly under, so pretty well performing on season average. Free kicks, of course, the hometown heroes, the Dockers, they're on top there in the free kick count. The umpires, the fans, yeah, they'll be cheering the free kicks on. 11 to the Dockers, 6 to the Saints. They're plus 5 hit out, so Dockers dominating in the hit outs. 29 to 11. That's plus 18. Wow, that being said, they're not using the hit outs to advantage much. The clearances, Saints well on top in all 3 departments. 25 to 11 in the clearances. There we go. Centre clearances 8 to 3. Dockers need to get that centre clearance going their way. Stoppage clearances 17 to 8. There we go. Plus 9 to the Saints. Contested possessions, look, both teams are contesting the ball reasonably well. 56-68, just plus 12 to the Saints. Uncontested, well, the Dockers just need to get their ball in their mitts a little bit more, have a little bit more control. 102-121, that's plus 19 to St Kilda. And, of course, turnovers, well, pretty much on season average for the Dockers. St Kilda turning it over a little bit more. So that means Dockers must be putting on some reasonably good pressure on in that opening half. Marks all pretty similar there, 47-50. Marks inside 50. Both teams getting their chances there. That's what we like to see. Marks inside 50, and of course we'll have a look at the tackle count coming right up. Here we go. Let's have a look at the tackle count. Well, here we go. There we go. That's really good. Both teams bringing the pressure on today. Both going above season average. So that means they're out there and they're out there to play. Some teams, as you see, they have real low tackle count. That's just not putting the pressure on the opposition. But it's good to see both teams going above season average. hitting their tackles well. And, of course, tackles inside 50, I tell you what. Their forwards mean business today. Absolutely do they mean business. Look at that. Fremantle Dockers already on 10. That's the season average, their tackles inside 50. And, of course, the Saints only 2 behind the Dockers on 8. So they're going really well. Saints are really trying to win. Danger game. You know what? Let me just take that back there. Let me just put that live ladder on again for Eddie G. Give him a smile on his dial and all you Fremantle fans out there. The Dockers, as we said, 6th position now if they win. Of course, St Kilda down there in 15th spot. Not much chance there of making the top 8 for the Saints this year. You know, that being said, St Kilda like to be the fly in the ointment, especially for Ross Lyon with the coach. He likes to do the upsets, upset the teams that are vying for spots in the top 8 or to continue to be in the top 8. He loves that, doesn't he? He loves that. He loves to be the fly in the ointment, so to speak, Emmanuel, and try and test the waters here and put Fremantle under super pressure. Because I know Ross Lyon will think, you know what, if we beat the Dockers today, the Dockers going to be under pressure next week for Sydney. And if that happens, Dockers could fall out. But if the Dockers can win today and then go and be the contenders that they should be this year, they'll definitely cement themselves in the top 8 this year. Matthias Gillius, how you going? St Kilda win. Tell you what, she's a tight old game. 3 points the margin here, half time. Of course, Saints having 2 more scoring shots up into half time, just kicking a little bit skew if. Hey, it's so important. Kick straight. You got to kick straight and put the opposition under super duper pressure, or else you leave the door ajar and let the opposition stay in the game. And that's what it's all about. We've seen it time and time again where one team looks a lot better out in the ground. But they just they score them, they kick themselves out of the game and keep the opposition in it. The opposition get back. There we go. It's the Dockers 5-5-35 leading the Saints 4-8-32. We're going to head back down to the ground and they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the second half, which is only a minute away.
Counted as well, and he's having a very significant impact on this game.
He's been incredible finisher. It's a clearance, it's the first possession, and it's a goal. And here you go, there's 6 from him. He's been brilliant. It's got to be said. So Darcy and Jackson are probably winning more of the hit-outs, 29-11, and that's that. But here is what he's doing well, getting it down and then challenging the Fremantle ruckman around the ground. He's been one of the reasons, along with Garcia, Steele, McRae, they're just getting inside at this point in time and playing really well.
The Saints have played well. They came with a plan. They probably just haven't got bang for buck with what they've done today. It's a 3-point lead to Fremantle. It almost feels a little surprising that the Dockers are in front right now, because you look at the shots that St Kilda have had today, 13 shots at goal for 4 goals, 6 and 3 misses completely. If they're able to cash in on those, they've probably got a little handy lead.
Yeah, well, that's always the challenge for really good sides, how they connect and how they convert. But the messaging would have been so positive for St Kilda in their rooms. They have absolutely destroyed this Fremantle midfield. Hit-outs is one thing, but then first possession and clearance, St Kilda are just all over them.
And then score. Score because they're 3 goals 4 versus 0 goals 2 at half-time. So this is the challenge now for this midfield mix. Luke Jackson goes into the ruck to start this third quarter. Can Sarong, can Brayshaw, can Bolton and Co actually get moving and say, righto, we know what's coming. The heat's here. We've been challenged at half for a half. It's time now to put the foot down.
We're ready to go. Fremantle knew what was coming, and the midfield hasn't been able to handle it to this point in the game yet. Their side leads it by 3 points. We're underway, second half, Optus Stadium, Sunday afternoon footy. Jackson to hit out, down to Brayshaw on the burst, but he coughed it up to McRae. And now Sinclair can punish back in the other direction. Ryan punched it, maybe with his face, and a Falcon on the way through. Owen's taken high.
Another centre square bounce clearance. 9 of them so far to the Saints for 3.
Fremantle thought they were out. The Saints pinched it back. Higgins there. Sharman had the run blocked. Higgins in and under. Clark just over to extract it. Johnson out of defence off the left boot. Just a great bit of contact. Not a lot in it, but it will be a down the ground free kick.
So Andy Brayshaw, who's going to receive this downfield, just doing a little bit of a warm-up away from the main group. at half-time, perhaps. He looks okay, but he's been one of these midfielders that's been well down on their normal output. We'll keep an eye on him if he continues to play.
Disposal 14 for Andy Brayshaw, but doesn't have the same impact with those disposals as in recent weeks. He's had 30 plus in 4 of his last 6 games. Brayshaw, here's Chapman. Johnson, Jackson, now Reed to the pocket. Amos, and just missed it.
That was better from Sarong. He put his body on the line there. Didn't get a start, but he drew 3 or 4. He's trying to push and drive his team as well, trying to get himself into the game by being instructional out there.
8 disposals in the first half for Caleb Sarong. Jackson got past Marshall. Bolton, Winhager. That's a dangerous tackle. His head hit the turf, Winhager, as he was dragged to ground. He's bounced back to his feet quickly, though, which is good. Look out. Too much on the kick. Went through the fingertips of Wang, and then Miller and Frederick couldn't punish them. The tackle's still there. That was certainly a duck from Voss. And Winhager's copped another tough tackle. Winhager's not happy with it. No, Voss likes to be physical. Both sides making some errors.
Well, it was the second one that was worse, looking at the two of them.
Spoke about the Tracy one at half-time, which you didn't think there was much in.
Yeah,
let's have a look at both of these.
Yeah, so Bolton left his feet. That's where the swinging motion came from. He sort of left his feet, and that's the momentum.
All turned over here. Frederick will send it from 50. Long kick towards goal, but it's off target.
And you could see the Voss one, that was a pick and dump. So
he might be in trouble. Keep an eye on that one. Winhager, by the way, is okay. He's up and moving, so let's have a look. Arms are out.
Head doesn't really hit the ground, so could have been lucky. But that's what that comes down to, is luck. It's the action that is a poor one.
If you choose to do that as the tackler, you may end up in strife, but they both look okay.
Getting Miller out of defence. Jackson to the front. Chapman with the sport.
Okay, so this is better. There's intent here from Fremantle to keep it. Firstly, to win a clearance, get it in your front half and keep it there. We didn't see much of this in the first half, Scully.
Those clearance numbers again, 27 to 11 in favour of the Saints. They won the clearances by 28 for the game in that contest in round 8. Jackson to the front. Winhager, get it out. All up the line. Warner, look out. Oh, and scrunched into him. Courageous from Warner. It'll be a 50-metre penalty. The Dockers not happy with it.
He does it every week. Warner, he is brave, really brave. He puts his body on the line. Let's have a look at it again.
I don't know if Owens will be in much trouble just because he didn't get him in the head. He was going for the footy until he was in the air, and then he wasn't, and he was protecting himself. I know it's a big hit, Pav, but...
Is that 50 metres?
It's a touch late from Owens.
Also the measurement.
And then too long, too short.
That's really a nice one, too.
Now Warner, who hasn't kicked a goal in his career from 50. Good connection, but always out to the left. Player who's had some significant knocks through his career as well. Continues to put his body on the line.
I think that's the impressive thing, isn't it? That he's had a few knocks and...
So, going to get an HIA
on Marcus Winhager here. And the doctor is out there having a chat. He's having to come off. I mean, he's saying, I'm fine, I'm completely fine, but as we know, this is the process that happens.
The doctors would have had a look at the vision similar to what we saw before, plus a little bit more just to see whether his head hit the turf. He wants to get back out there.
Let's have a look. So there's the first one that he got from Bolton. Not much in that at all. It's probably the second one here. The head goes back a little bit, Scully.
It's a killer out of defence. One ball from Sinclair. Steele, like hands.
What a mark.
He was under heavy pressure. He's not sure where to go. Clark almost able to get a smother on it. Forces an errant kick up the line. Brayshaw can power his way forward. Clark didn't give the handball. There's a down the ground free kick. Dudley just put it on the boot. He skies it high. Drifting in. Tracy juggled. Wagner Miller played it well. But it's all Dockers out there. McDonald's got players leading into the pocket. Amos. Taru with another terrific spoil away. His 10th for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps you're all over it as usual. One of the more important stats in the game, spoils. That is number 10. The most ever by a Saint have. You probably know this already, but 16. So he's on track to do the best ever anyone's ever done.
That's a crucial stat.
Patron of defenders, Will Schofield, very happily with the work of Taru. He's been impressive. Warner again back with courage, and Owens collides with him. This one's play on. As the ball sent long, Ryan will retrieve it. And back towards his goal. He's the most defensive player. Brayshaw put him under the pump. Handball lingered for Brennan Cox, and they can just work the numbers. Brayshaw goes out wide for Johnson. A run and overlap from Warner. Ken Fraser's from him a few moments ago. Now to Reed into Bolton.
So they end up in the pocket, and it's well worked for the Dockers, but I sure had an opportunity to go direct to goal and hit up someone at centre half forward. I think it's just been, they've been spooked a little bit here with not only the way that their contest work and clearance work's going, but also with their ball movement.
But maybe it's directional, like maybe they've been told don't bomb it in there, St Kilda getting a lot of players back.
To bomb it into someone leading up. Marcus Winhager back out there, which is good to see.
It is.
Quick assessment and back into the action. Great that he's got the all clear. Bolt sprayed one earlier on in the game. Similar sort of position. A little bit closer this time. As he leans back on it, he draws it towards goal. The supreme skill of Shea Bolton.
Yeah, so I mentioned this in his first shot. He just likes to be a little bit more difficult, a little bit closer to the boundary, a little bit more impossible. It seems to raise his level. That was the kick you were mentioning, have that an opportunity to come straight at it. They used hands here, which I think I haven't seen as much in that first half. He's gaining metres with hands and taking it on, being more direct. This is a really good set shot of Cole, boys. He's basically kicking from behind the boundary here. On the side that's probably not suited for him, and does it easily in there. And have a look at this. How quickly does he know it? Pretty early, and he loves it.
He's had a big third term as well. He's been one of the sparks. Brayshaw, the other 5 disposals to Andy Brayshaw. Bolton 3. They had to step up, and they're doing it.
20th goal of the season. Game crying out for, look at that ability to finish. An 11-point lead to the Dockers.
So we say this a bit. Jackson in there as a midfielder opposed to Jack Steele. Darcy in the right.
Darcy down to Jackson. Up feet. Marshall threw his toe at it. Clark gets it forward. Bouncing footy. Sharman. McDonald there. Sharman kicked it in front of him. Wagner arriving. Good tackle from Wood and a stoppage.
Centre clearance is 10-3. Let's have a look at this in danger kick here. No, it's not in danger.
Very close, but not there.
Got there first. Marshall. Sarong out. Now Clark to Chapman. Up the line. Tracy wanted it. Stocker arriving to help. And another big punch away to the boundary.
I like that spoil. That's a good one.
What sort of standard does it need to be?
That's the big bang that goes out.
I think you like the fact
the
that
bounce. The bounce might be
But
pretty up.
he left his man to come to help his
Exactly.
opponent.
Exactly. That's what I like most.
Knocked down by Darcy. Clark swallowed in a tackle from Jackson. And the ball up.
So they're the ones I think where there's been a few this round where if you've got the arm free, the umpires have been pretty hot. Maybe that's the bit that's deemed prior.
At the stoppage, Sarong to Clark. Got a clearance win here. Oh, good kick. Will only find Wilkie.
Saints are still setting them up. So we've been highlighting this all game where the half forwards are right inside, and generally that's why they've had sucks. The ascendancy they have from the clearances.
Wilkie up the line. Jackson. And a Darcy free kick here. There's some holding going on from Marshall.
So this is where Sean Darcy's in the ruck against Marshall, and you saw Jackson having a fly. I mean, that's the advantage they're trying to get. As I watch Luke Jackson in front of the footy now, he's got Marcus Windhager, and he's just handing him over. Watch here.
It goes in his direction. Taru almost didn't try to spoil it that time.
I love his attack on the ball, whether it's with the fist or going for his marks. Taru looks like a real player down there for the Saints.
Pick 10 in last year's draft. Just his second game. Saints have found one there.
So Marshall's come off for a rest here. Darcy v. Kilda.
Kilda took it and just lost it in the last seconds. And holding the ball to call. No advantage given or taken.
Again, the matchup here will be Jackson. He's a midfielder going forward. He's on Jack Steele right now in the pocket. That's who Foley will be trying to free up.
Erasmus, a lot of numbers back for the Saints. Erasmus goes into the pocket. It's never really to the advantage of any of his forwards. Travalia under the pump, a grey dump kick. Free kick comes back to the Saints.
That one's on Jackson. Held the tackle too long after the scrambled kick came out of it.
It's going to be a down ground relay free. Clearly there. Jackson hanging on too long. Hager up the line. On the side, Owens and Warner battle again. All at the spill. Chip it forward for Higgins. Have to get amongst the goals in this second half. The long ball goes in. Woods there. Wilson was waiting out the back. Clark rode the trouble. Now McDonald's. He wanted Ryan, but over his head, it just pitched inside the field of play.
So it's been in Freo's forward half quite a bit. They still haven't got the clearance work sorted just yet. We're going to look there, 63% inside the forward half here. The Saints have an opportunity just outside 50. Can they capitalise on this stoppage dominance?
Darcy in front, down to Wagner, hit it with pace, couldn't break through, holding the ball. Well done again. Max Hall with terrific tackle numbers, number 7 for the game.
Having about 4 free kicks from them as well with holding the ball, so they've been damaging tackles.
What a terrific game so far. 15 disposals as well as Clark drives it in. Saints need a goal. Pack was there. Banfield the punch. Higgins trying to arrive. Well tapped back by Wood. Handball to a dangerous spot. Fremantle get there in numbers. Chapman spun into trouble. Clever handball. Johnson, Frederick, look out. Sinclair's got him. And a ball up.
Did he have prior? Well, it was very close.
So
Great pressure here from the Saints.
This is what's changing though with the rule. The pry doesn't matter as much as the fend. He just sort of held it in, got tackled.
It should though, shouldn't it?
As does Johnson, who just holds it in.
I'm not writing the rules, I'm just telling you how they're being interpreted these days, Pat. You watch this.
He's very capable of going.
It's prior, yes, but because he doesn't fend, that's why it's not given.
Knocked away. Pinballing down low. Higgins wanted a free kick in the middle of all of that. Schofield about to take over the umpiring department. Maybe you could do Razor Race segment on 360.
Yeah.
From Clark.
Please no.
Up the line. Defenders be getting some freeze. Ball with Bolton. Soccers it forward. Fast break opportunity for Fremantle. Amos will go the soccer skills again. Heads to the goal square. Foot race is on. And Stocker will just see it roll innocently away for a behind.
That's his first kick. This is his first snap, actually. So we talked about him attacking the ball, or the lack thereof. He's really finding it hard to get it into a game. Sometimes a game against St Kilda and Ross Lyon, you can feel that way as a forward.
Hasn't kicked one his last 2 games, John Amos. Taru. Great mark. And it gets the Saints going. Travalia. Out towards Owens. Big contest again. Fremantle recover quickest. Banfields. Clark. And try to switch things up. Cross to McDonald's. Johnson. Oh, he dropped the footy. He's made the mark and then called to go. He's under the pump and he's able to get a run and a bounce. And then a short kick towards Bolton. Cleverly slapped it on, but only as far as Wilkie. Knew he had to read further afield. Wilkie up the line. Higgins. Had a couple of minutes for the Saints. But the Fremantle started well. And a turnover. Just as they were looking to go forward. Clark called to go. He places a kick for Reed.
That's a great kick. I wasn't sure. There's a couple of opportunities to go inboard, but the Saints were onto it.
Long ball, punched by Cavani. Bang, over the boundary.
Well, that was really well handed over there. The St Kilda backs. Camenetti pressed off his man to go and intercept that. There wasn't much ahead for Freo. Take a mark there. And you're suddenly defending from your own back 50, but really well behind the footy today, St Kilda.
He said it 28 minutes since the Saints' last goal. Need to get some reward on the score sheet. So win another clearance away. Clark and Marshall getting involved. Mason Wood is there. Banfield sees it over.
That's 32 clearances to 15. 32 to 15. They've kicked the 4 goals from it, the Saints. Freo. Sorry, mate, the 3 goals. Freo yet to score, so they're still right on top.
Just 4 goals for the match despite that dominance. As Garcia sends it in, another clearance, the Saints. Sharman there, Higgins dangerous, overran it. Wood shrugged a tackle, Sharman, Butler, not much room to move, but he made the most of it. The Saints break their drought. A vital goal in this third quarter for St Kilda, and the margin back to 6.
Yeah, Garcia just ran past Caleb Sarong, gave him a little pat on the head. I think it's because Garcia has taken him to school, Caleb Sarong. It's a goal from a stoppage. It's their 4th of the match. And eventually the dam wall breaks. If you keep giving these types of clearance numbers against your defence, there's only so much you can defend. And it's well played, the Saints. Butler finishes the work. And they are here to play and taking it right up to the Dockers.
Well, Ross Lyon knows this too. Yeah, that's why he's doing exactly what he did earlier this year. He's just putting numbers around the footy. He knows that Freo can't handle this, because that's what we're seeing right now from a stoppage point of view.
Butler with an important goal. 7th straight now for his campaign this year. Out of the middle, the Dockers will get a clearance through Bolton to half forward. Travaglia was in front, but it's spilled to Frederick. They feed it out. Amos looks up. He wants to fly to target. Erasmus. Well played by John Amos to just look back inboard, and the benefit of winning a clearance out of the middle.
Yeah, we've been highlighting it. Feel like a broken record, Scully, but this is great work from Amos. Hasn't had a big day, but take your moment. Instead of having a blazing shot or putting it to the top of the square, find a pass inside 50.
And subbing 15 of now his 32 games, Neil Erasmus, but getting a bit more of a run of it. More time on the field, trying to stake his claim for a spot in the team. That one just beeline its way straight to the post, right off the boot. Bad miss. They've just given the Dockers a little bit of breathing space. 1 goal 4 in this term for Fremantle. Winhager trying to turn. Johnson went past the footy. Winhager back. Wilkie up the line. McDonald's.
He'll hit the free. Well, he's back in the side as a backman. Last time we saw him, he was a forward, so it's showing his versatility. Had varying matchups today, Oscar McDonald, but of course Alex Pearce not in the side right now.
He's still suffering that hot spot on his shin. He's pushed Draper out, has McDonald, by virtue of his form in the waffle. So
kick from Brendan Cox up the wing. Voss attacked it. Couldn't hang on to it. Sharman. Wanganeen Miller goes towards Henry. St Kilda build. They chip up to some space for Wood. Lunging spoil, but a free kick for a chop of the arms.
That was there. This is very similar to one in the first quarter when you don't make the body contact and you've got forwards leading up at the footy. It's just a leg race, foot race I should say. Liam Henry, I know he's a great disposal winner. Oh,
it's there. It's there, Scully.
Just there.
Mason Wood. Footy on his boot. Oh, so hard to come by today. Another poster. He must be on world record pace.
Just about the opportunities, haven't they, the Saints?
Missed the post at least 3 times today.
Has some good 2 of those.
Rio have done it as well. Highlighted at half time that St Kilda just haven't made the most of their opportunities when they've gone forward. Brandon Cox, quite often the outlet target, and the size there opposed to Winhager to take them on.
And they like isolating Brandon Cox one-on-one with a smaller midfield type. As an outlet kick and allows them to get some field position off the kick out.
Amos there, just a little over his head as he was leading up. Caminiti able to see it to the boundary.
So is it the stoppage dominance that was meant that Jai Amos has barely touched the footy, or is it Caminiti who's doing a great job?
Caminiti's playing well on him. I think he's been had some poor kicks to him, but he just needs to be a bit more active and explode at the ball.
Kick back here to McRae, who's going out for disposal number 21. Biggest lead today has been 12 points to Fremantle. It's been a real arm wrestle all afternoon. High ball goes in. Sharman there. Ryan across to help.
Well, well done, Luke Ryan. Had to leave his opponent to go and help his fellow backman as we see Shea Bolton on the boundary. Should Cats following that.
Thumb or wrist injury.
Patched up. Checked out. Back at the action. Clark on the fly, but near side. He slaps the turf in frustration.
Yeah, Shea Bolton just getting some running repairs, but as you could see on the back bench, Nat Fyfe's still sitting there. When do they pull that trigger, do you think?
I've been pulling it pretty quickly on these stoppage numbers. They've got to get him or someone else in around the ball to create or stop this dominance, because it's fueling the Saints' belief.
The kick was to a 3-on-1 that's favoured St Kilda. Winhager will go wide, but Trey's got it again. He stabs it to the top of the square, off hands. Waiting back there, Frederick, a fumble. He did enough to see it over the line.
Doesn't look like he's warming up or ready to get out there too soon, but I agree with you, Pav. He might have lost a yard or two and doesn't appear like he's got the confidence in his kicking right now, but he's still an elite stoppage player, and that's where they're getting absolutely smashed right now for it.
Banfield up the line. High ball. Jackson, Taru, another spoil away. Back to Jackson. Fremantle will break by hand. Voss over the top now for Frederick. They get out and running for O'Driscoll. Tracy's the long target. He cut it back inboard instead. Clean take, Brayshaw. Turns back for the run of O'Driscoll. He marks it near the 50. They were about to go a deep entry inside 50, but now it's O'Driscoll. We'll just teed up to the top of the square. Looking for the tall timber. Taru! The flying Viking back there takes a terrific intercept.
What a game he's playing. Yeah. This is a breakout game. Look out.
Dangerous kick.
Tremendous mark.
Now the Saints through Wood, one-on-one, up the ground. Warner, he bumped up, it's into the footy then. Owens was in the better position. St Kilda break with some space. They can get some run. Wanganeen Miller to Hall. Had a few opportunities. Can he stand up and take his moment? You bet he can! Saints in front.
Well, this is just a hard-running goal from Hall, who has really made his mark on this game through his tackle and his defensive pressure, but this right here is just absolute gut running.
So here he is, Scully. Yep, you talk us through it, because one, it's great running, but Freo, there's O'Driscoll who's on the mark with him. They aren't able to transition or at least hand over. He just keeps running his guts out here, does Hall. Look at him, all by himself.
No one near him.
Now, O'Driscoll nowhere to be seen. No cover defence, and then what a finish.
He has been a player to make a difference today. The defensive mindset you've seen Ross Lyon bring to it. Max Hall's been right at the front of that.
17 disposals, 6 tackles on the afternoon. Now a goal as well. And it's given St Kilda the lead. On a number of lead changes today. Marshall to Steele out of the middle. Wanganeen Miller had 2 options there, cruising past, but Clark in the row.
taken Freo the entire game. They still haven't been able to stop that play right there.
Taru again with a big punch.
Yeah, well, you can see why he's such a high draft pick and why St Kilda fans are excited to get him in the side. Jai Amos pulled up on that, by the way. Taru's got to be the man to close that gap.
They'll push through that line of the ball.
Marshall to the front. Steele, the clearance. They go forward. Owens in front. Chapman reaching around with the spoil. Clark went through the legs. Owens there. Saints with numbers and a real appetite for the footy. Ball goes in towards Kilda. St Kilda on a real run towards three-quarter time.
Well, it's a run from clearance. Once again, it's 42 clearances to 14. And another stoppage win. So that's...
Yeah, 37 clearances to 16 with the hit-outs you're talking about. They're just getting absolutely smashed, and it's time to change something.
Miller looks up at Ellum. He's got to take his set shot. All those young stars coming through for the Saints. They are up for the fight today. He extends their lead.
Brian Marshall's been huge all day. So is Garcia, McRae, Clark. They're just schooling this Fremantle midfield really well worked here. Hall again involved, who's been enormous. And then it's a really well-weighted kick advantage side. Keeler able to run onto it. Just another clearance steal this time. See the kick there? That's just a really smart kick. Popped it to the space and, yep, a little loop in behind.
Yeah, he's always moving, Keeler. Like I said, at the start of this game, I've liked his development this year. He's always on the move, difficult to stop. See him out of the cage with Brennan Cox right now.
Maxwell now with 9 score involvements in the game. He's out of the middle. Steele, tackle, Garcia, run down. And a ball up.
That's better from Sarong and also Jackson. He just hasn't touched the ball today, Caleb Sarong. I think he had 10 disposals. He has to do that type of stuff.
Darcy down. McRae has been busy.
He's been huge. Jack McRae, 22 disposals, Steele with 19, Hall with 18, Garcia 18, Marshall as well.
Kilda's midfield feasted today. As Higgins out to Sinclair again too easily. They work it away. The pressure came from Clark. And he's playing almost a lone hand, trying to defend, and then he gives up a free kick. He knew he was going to ground, so he gave up the free. Thought he's held himself. Crowd getting restless. Stocker will switch it up. The Saints are keen for more before three-quarter time.
The first possession numbers are just brilliant from St Kilda. Garcia's had plenty. McRae, Clark, Steele, they're all in front of the first Freo midfielder.
Bang. Ronnie Cox with the spoil. Driscoll up the line. Tracy takes the mark.
Yeah, they're just getting inside, aren't they? It's not overly complicated, but you're getting inside your opposition midfielder and getting first to the ball, and then if they do get it, they're just pouncing on them.
Tracy with a long kick up towards Amos, and Boss Amos claims it and is paid. Boss got a fair hand on that, I thought, on the way through. A tough afternoon for the Freo forward. He's paid a good mark there.
So he's had a dog of a day, has Jai Amos. Hardly touched the ball. This will be his third disposal, and it's all come in this third term. Did he get all of this? Yeah, maybe he did. But it could not be your day, but it can be your moment, and this is an important kick for both he and the Dockers.
0 goals across his last 2 games. He hasn't been goalless in 2 consecutive games before in his career. Jai Amos. Attempt here. Hooks the kick away. He's punched through again by Taru. Leaping into the air. Cross line down there. Back coaching against Fremantle in Perth for the first time.
Just because of the size of him, a little bit of Sam Gilbert about Taru. I was thinking back to an older Saint.
He's been tremendous today, hasn't he?
Anthony Miller up out of defence. Mason Wood over the top. got some spring as well. Inside the last minute of this third quarter. Keeler attacked it nicely. Brennan Cox with a punch. Steele just waited for the tackle to come. And this stoppage right at the interchange. The players will know exactly how long is remaining in this quarter.
Marshall and Hall, big impactors of this game. Spoken about them throughout the coverage.
A fair bit going on just here. So McRae's absolutely having his way with Caleb Sarong. Garcia also involved. He's putting him off his game. You can see he doesn't like it. Sarong, Brayshaw trying to block for him.
It's the 10 disposals for Sarong today. He's been in a purple patch of form. Found it tougher this afternoon. Saints to the 50. Owens away in towards Higgins. Got past O'Driscoll. Now to Wilson. Feeds it in. Port Butler outside of the boot. Working it back to goal. Not enough. Not enough for the Saints as Hall looks a little sore.
Yeah, it's just caught up in a tackle from Sarong as they came out. Another clearance. And here the umpires saying, watching those two, Garcia and Sarong.
Darcy there. That's been an arm wrestle all afternoon. The Saints taking it right up to Fremantle. There's been 8 lead changes through this contest. What have we got in store in the last? It's the Saints as we turn for home by 8 points.
All right, there we go. 3-quarter time, folks, and it's the Saints back on top. 7-12-54, the Docker 6-10-46. ET, shouty. How you going, Squire? M King, what's happening on? ET, Adrian there. That's Adrian's new channel. If you want to connect with him, that's Eddie G. There we go. Santa. Oh, hey. I tell you what, both teams are allowing each other to stay in this match. I tell you what, we are in for one ring-a-ding-ding final term here. Of course, the Dockers putting on 1 goal, 5. The Saints, well, they put on 3 goals, 4. At least they kicked a little bit straighter, kicking some goals, the last 3 goals of the match. Hey, Dockers, I'll give you a little bit of advice. Kick straight, bring Fife on. You're getting, Docker's getting absolutely smashed around the clearance section. They need to bring Fife on. Maybe he might add something to him. Let's hope so for Freo, because Freo, if you lose this game, you could be in trouble. You look back at the end of the year and go, my gosh, that last home game we had against St Kilda, we let that slip and we let our chances again go for a run at the finals. Come on, Freo. I tell you what, the Saints... they're putting the pressure on. I tell you what, they aren't making this easy for the Dockers. The Dockers seem to be transitioning all right from back to forward, but the forward, they're struggling up forward, the Dockers. And as I said, out of the clearances, but yeah, St Kilda, I tell you what, their pressure's ramped up in that third term. Whew. All right, let's have a look at the goal scorers up until 3-quarter time. Josh Tracy still leads with 2. Murphy Reed, O'Driscoll, Jordan Clark, Shai Bolton bobbed in for singles for the Saints. Isaac Keeler with 2. Wanganeen Miller, Marshall, Liam Henry, Max Hall, Dan Butler with singles there for the Saints. Ross, the boss, I tell you what, he'll be sitting back. He'll be loving it, Ross. Jordan Clark leads the way on disposal count. 25 there, tops the table there for the Dockers. There you go, 16 kicks, 9 handballs, a goal. Jack McRae, 23. They're the only 2 in the 20s at the moment. Jack Steele, 19 with Maxi Hall. Andy Brayshaw, come on, son. As I was saying in the commentary, he hasn't really had that much of an impact. 18 disposals. Not a great deal happening there. He needs to impact this game. Come on. Let's get this game back and forth. Well, let's go goal for goal in this term. And I'm sure within the last 5 minutes of this game, we'll be biting our fingernails going, who's going to get this? Who's going to win this? Is that possession going to be the possession that wins the game? It just needs to be clean. Come on, compose yourself. Kick the ball straight. That's what we could be saying at the end of this quarter. All right, let me just take this back up. We don't need to have a look at the team stats just at the moment because they're going to be back in a moment and we're going to be heading down to the ground for the final quarter. Addy G's there. He's in a bit of a sweat. He's probably eating hot curry. He's sweating over the Fremantle Dockers. Tell you what, I'm surprised, Eddie. I'm surprised you're not actually at the game today. There's a few spare seats there. It looks like there's a reasonably good crowd at the footy today. They're over there at Optus Stadium there in Perth. There we go. Yeah, it's Ross is sizzling sausages in Perth. He's sizzling the Dockers sausages right now. Oh, that didn't sound right. But yeah, he's sizzling. I know. We need the Dockers to get up for Addy G today. Come on, Dockers! All right, that's enough for me. We're going to head back down there in just a second, Emmanuel. Just in case Addy G wanted to have a look at the ladder. Oh, that's right. Saints are leading at the moment. Anyway, there we go. Fremantle, if you do happen to lose, you're still in 8th position. But I tell you what, look at that percentage, only 1.2% clear of the GWS Giants as it stands. So if the Saints actually happen to kick away by a 4 or 5 goal margin, that could put Freo out of the 8. We don't want that to happen. St Kilda, if they win, they'll go to 24 points, 3 games clear. So their season's done and dusted. As I said before, Ross Lyon and his St Kilda team love to be the ointment, the fly in the ointment to other teams. I tell you what, the coach of Fremantle, giving them a stern warning, a bit of advice there. My gosh. Yeah, no, it won't happen. Come on, Freo. Let's head back down to the ground for the final quarter. Let's cheer on Freo for Addy G.
It's clearance, it's contested ball and scores from stoppage. Set of clearances dominating, 39 to 16 clearances. Like that is just an absurd amount for a side that is their strength. And then scores from stoppage. Freo haven't kicked a goal. Meanwhile, St Kilda have had 10 shots on goal, 4 goals, 6 from stoppage. So they are just raining them in the middle of the ground, and they'll be loving this pack.
Oh, don't get beaten by what you know. So this is exactly what they did 8 weeks ago. They got inside Sarong, they got inside Johnson, they got inside Erasmus, and then they just did this. They're having their way with them in around the stoppage. It's unacceptable from a midfield group from Fremantle, a midfield group who really has built its effort across the last 6 weeks on contest, clearance and tackle. Right now, Caleb Sarong needs to lift, Luke Jackson needs to lift, so too Matthew Johnson and a number of these midfielders.
Well, Andy Brayshaw got the side in before Dustin Longmuir spoke to them at three-quarter time. He had them all in a tight huddle. We know that Sarong and Brayshaw are the leaders out there with no Alex Pearce. I wonder what response Freo have, and I wonder if St Kilda can keep this up, because they have been nothing short of elite through there.
Still no movement with that 5-2. Still got the puffer on and headed for the back bench. Do you think they should have pulled that trigger at three-quarter time, Pav?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think this is the perfect time to inject him into a game.
Massive final quarter coming up. St Kilda leading by 8. Sunday evening footy from Optus Stadium. Fremantle and St Kilda. Darcy in there. Garcia tried to take it. Steal through the legs. Sarong gets to work. Little Falcon there on Butler. Dudley up helping out. The Dockers get a clearance to half forward, but only as far as Stocker. And they want to continue to attack. Wanganeen Miller to steal. High ball towards the 50. Owens going back. Thought he was held. Knocked down. Handball over the head. After it again. Oh, he's played an elite game. Wrapped up by Clark. Owens gets in there. Marshall was clever. Away to Higgins. He snaps from the pocket. The Saints throw down the challenge.
What a finish from Jack Higgins. Just brilliant work here from the Saints forwards to stay active and stay involved. The rebound they got, so this one comes from a turnover. They've built their game off contest and clearance, but still did this so well. Have a look at how much Higgins just gets up here. Hall keeps fighting the tackle, gets his arm free. And then Marshall, that's so smart. And, well, he's been doing this for years, Jack Higgins.
Well, that's a work rate goal as well. Harold Marshall ends up getting it with Sean Marcioni, but I looked up and goal side of their opponents was St Kilda.
Yep.
They are working harder right now than the Dockers.
Jack Higgins' 31st goal of the season. And a quick one to the Saints. Back in the middle we go. Darcy knocks it away. Sarong's in there. Garcia's been busy. McRae's been huge. High ball to half forward. Clark has been the Dockers' best. 26 disposal coming up. Number 50. He's just outside that 5 metres though. McRae, here's Johnson.
He's about the only one, Jordan Clark, that can hold his head high right now. There's 17 others that need to get moving.
Frederick up the line, too much on it. Fry Driscoll, rookies there. And back in to find it. And ball backwards. And Chapman with the long ball to the 50. Jackson over the top. Taru couldn't impact. Chip to the pocket. Darcy. The two rucks combine. The knees dug into the turf. But Darcy was able to clutch it. And he can go back for a big set shot.
Yeah, Wagner actually made great position, almost the top of the square or about 30 or 40 metres out. Jackson's vision was only narrow. How crucial was this shot of goal, perhaps?
He got his hands under it as well. Questionable, but he did mark this Sean Darcy.
Question marks about his spot in the side from plenty. Questions whether the 1-2 punch in the ruck with Jackson and Darcy will work. There's no question about the impact right there from Big Sean. He's pumped up with it too, trying to get his side going.
Well, that's what those sort of goals do. He's well liked at the top because the sort of players get to him. They know that it's been a huge battle for him to get out of the park consistently. He's been working really hard. By sight, he looks like he's lost a lot of weight. He's fit, and they need him playing well here. This is really good hands and movement here. Big mark by Jackson, and then he looks for his co-ruckman. Marshall was well off him there. You see Jackson with Taru, who have been really impressed with today. Darcy has got 10 metres on Rowan Marshall.
Yeah, so that's the move. Darcy's in the ruck. Jackson to full forward effectively.
Goal each way to start this final quarter. Back in the middle, Steele. Tackled by Bolt. Kath Lochner. Get to in just a second as ball's knocked down. Let's see some movement on the sub shortly. Is that into the legs of Clark? It is a free kick below the knees. They take the advantage. They draw the ball in for Jackson.
Yeah, we talked about it, didn't we? Luke Jackson, 2 inside 50s, 2 marks. He's gone straight to the goal square. This is the versatility this man possesses. Got a kick from Sarong. That's only his 7th kick for the game. A very quiet one, Caleb Sarong, but standing up when it matters most.
Oh, this 3 minutes is Luke Jackson the forward. This is how Freo see him. Being able to play in the ruck, but be able to go forward.
Dynamic duo. That ruck combination. As Luke Jackson lines them up. First it was Darcy. Then it's Jackson. The ruck's getting free on a roll.
Definitely a move they've made from the box to put him into the goal square. So Jackson comes off the ground. Perhaps not happy with that, but there's probably a rotation he needs before he goes into the ruck. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. We know what this is like, and to be able to just go pace for pace with Caminiti, who's been a really good defender this year and today especially, it shows how versatile he is. And to go back and kick it as well for both rucks, both Darcy and Jackson, that's huge for Freo.
Has a seat and a rest. The #1 rated player in the AFL over the last 6 rounds, Luke Jackson. The margin back to 2 points. Darcy got it to his boot. Bounce important. Wilson couldn't find it. Johnson extracted it. Sarong trying to get busy. Pressure on the boot. High ball goes in. Wilkie knocked it down. Did well to not let it get out the back. Dudley with ball at feet is dangerous. Wilson's got him. Saints wanted to holding the ball. It'll be a stoppage.
Intensity's gone up. You can see it.
Darcy held position. Knocked it down. Taru smothered. But it came off the boot of Bolton. That was above the knee, according to the boundary.
Looked like it was off the bottom of his foot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Straight out of bounds before the Saints were calling for it. Let's have a look.
That is on the floor, and that We shot out high, dropped.
Should have been free kick to the Saints. Instead, it's Bolton bursting, left the footy behind, holding the ball.
Taru, he has been unbelievable back there, spoiling and tackling and flying and everything, and now he tackles one of the hardest players in the AFL to tackle.
Yeah, well, cool, Scurry. Look at that, sweating off the back. Great tackle. He's had a huge game.
Double-digit number of spoils for Taru in this one,
Which is exciting.
his second game. A long kick by the Saints up the wing. Long. And he pushed Mason Wood out of it, but he took them on. And a chance for Fremantle to go back towards the 50.
Yeah, some repeat entries here for the Dockers.
Erasmus.
Saints have been enormous defending their inside or defensive 50 all day.
He goes central to the hot spot for Tracy. Storming out of full forward. Marking on the lead. And a chance to give the Dockers the lead.
That's the criticism here has happened for both sides is these strong leading forwards. You've got to be able to put an arm across them, because if they're able to just run at the footy and not be touched, that's what happens. We've seen it at both ends. It's the battle the defenders always face. Can you get an arm across to stop the lead?
Nasty rib injury earlier. He shrugged off the Doctors. He wanted to continue to fight. He slams it through, and Freo are in front.
That's ready for Josh Tracy. He started the game on fire, and then he really, along with Pat Voss and Jay Amos and all the Freo forwards, have been starved of opportunity. Don't you love it when you see a big key forward come charging out from full forward? Gets a little block here. Does he, or is it just beat for pace yet? So Taru just a little bit caught on the back foot. Tracy was coming forward. You were talking about the defensive mechanism there, Scully, but strong pair of hands, and importantly goes back and kicks the goal.
As a young defender, as a second, he'll learn that.
Yep.
He'll learn it. Just instead of standing, just let me get in front, and that lead probably doesn't even happen. Jackson's back on. Pav, he went up, he went off straight into the ruck. They're trying to get this dominance here for
Josh Tracy kicked his 100th goal last round. He's the youngest to do it for Freo since Matthew Pavlich in 2004. Young key forward star in the competition, and they want to take the advantage here, but not allowed to do so.
Seen that played advantage a lot this year, and I think it probably should have been advantage.
Feel hard done by the Saints. 9 lead changes in this one. A Stocker sends it inside 50. Wilson there, Banfield a spike away. O'Driscoll a fumble. Ricochet footy. Sarong to ground. Hall is clean. Sinclair barrel. Sharman able to turn goal side. Sends it in, but it was touched off the boot, was it? Brendan Cox not aware of it. No one's sure, but it was play on. And now the long kick. Out to half back. Voss presents. Travalia at the spill. Johnson in there fighting for it. Winhager 2. Boundary line wins. 14 minutes to go. 4-point lead. Fremantle on a 5-match winning streak. The Saints have only won 1 of their last 5. How many twists and turns have we got left? The final match of round 16. Clark. He's back into some trouble. And held up.
He's been huge, Jordan Clark. 6 intercept marks amongst 26 disposals. 4, almost 500 metres gained. He's been huge.
Number 2 ranked player on the ground behind Royal Marshall.
Jackson in the ruck. Winhager held without it. Free kick to St Kilda.
Well, the trend continues around stoppage. Saints just getting inside and getting first access to the ball.
They've dominated those stats all day. High ball goes in. They want to leap, but Keeler was there. Punched by Brennan Cox. Frederick. Cox away. Now to O'Driscoll. Steady. Kick. Look out. Bang! Frederick went with courage. Wilkie read it the other way. Saints inside 50. But Wilson's kick was poor. And Brennan Cox able to take the mark.
Play from Michael Frederick. Wilkie just coming the other way. Just tremendous from both players. The kick from O'Driscoll. Tracy was actually out. Look at this bravery. Just it's
Could have been so
much worse in that collision. Valia, that's it. Wow, it's going to be a baller. So much riding on every stoppage. Delivery 4A forward.
Saints are holding their forwards a little bit more.
Marshall, Jackson reaching over the top. Sarong's been busier in this final term. Clark, Brayshaw involved. Up the line. Boss, Amos wrestle. Taru out the back. Moment here for the young defender. He's got a cool head. Danger though with the kick. Dudley ready to pounce. He was held. Free kick to Docker.
Well, he played so well until the execution. And look, game two, he'll learn. You talked about it, Sco, but just his ability to win the ball, and then unfortunately you can see his teammates getting around. They've loved him today, and rightly so. He's been tremendous.
Well, that's good leadership by Cananedi there, because he did everything right to apart from the execution, and that's something you can teach.
Isaiah Dudley back in the side, missed a few weeks for personal reasons, came back through the waffle in just his 10th game of footy. He loves a goal. Crowd are up and about as Fremantle make their move in the last. A cool finish under heavy pressure, and it's a 10-point lead to the Dockers.
So believe it or not, it's a turnover, but it really started from a stoppage. The Saints here at half back, they're trying to stretch a little bit more. They're trying to play at least five, maybe six forwards ahead of the ball now when it's around that attacking mid. But then a long kick forward, you can see what it means to Justin Longmuir. Good finish from Dudley in the end.
Just running now, down by 10 points, do some Kilda change.
They've made their subs, Scully, so Butler is the man off, Carol on.
Thanks, Gaff. We're not down. That time it's Darcy to Jackson, and Clark able to hold things up.
I'm not sure you are. I mean, it's worked so well for them most of the match, Scully.
Yeah, but it's not this quarter.
Darcy, Brayshaw, Sockers forward. Manganese Miller was clean. Travalia into some trouble, then out of it. Winhager, McRae, Dockers pressure good. Travalia tackles.
What do you think about this last quarter in terms of stoppage? Pretty even in terms of contested ball. Fremantle stepping it up, but
Yeah, the ruck got at it. Darcy on the boot having an impact. Bouncing footy. Bolton difficult to chase. Got it out to Johnson. Short pass. Brayshaw. Saints were questioning whether it was the 15 metres. The mark goes the way of Fremantle. Ross Lyon not happy with it. He did well not to break the handset. The mark goes to the Dockers, and it's on the boot of Andrew Brayshaw.
Caleb Sarong really stepping up. We mentioned how quiet he has been. 4 disposals, a clearance, couple of ground ball gets this quarter.
Tough afternoon. A leader at Fremantle. Brayshaw's kick. Misses.
I think if you're the Saints, you've got half a quarter here to actually kick a couple of goals and still pinch this. There's still plenty of time. I think you look at the numbers this last quarter, they're doing a lot right.
Left that one out there. Gets involved here. Steele out the back. And the Saints got another charge in them. Did well to find it to Wilson, and now McRae trying to direct some traffic, urging the players to lead towards him. Punched by Cox, spills to a dangerous spot. Sinclair there, Erasmus committed, won the footy and got it to Reid. Now Banfield, Warner, a little casual but composed. Up the wing, Taru, left it behind. Jackson, Voss, gains territory. Handball, Brayshaw, high ball, one-on-one. Tracy, Wilkie, bounce, Bolton. Great tackle. Winhager, saving almost a certain one.
Yeah, great desperation, Winhager. Gee, it's opened up this last quarter. It's end-to-end stuff.
Don't go anywhere. The Saints will continue to fight. Sharman, still a stack of time remaining. Winhager continues to work. Wilson, they find some clean footy. Clark, Wanganeen Miller rolling forward, can use it well. Now to Sinclair. They build perfectly for Higgins.
It's the type of ball movement that any forward loves, particularly Jack Higgins. He is a nice little tick lead. As the ball was moving and they got the ball in the right people's hands here, Sinclair just lowered the eyes. Higgins ticked back up.
Wasting no time. And the set shot across the face. He just hasn't been hitting them as well as he was early on in the season. Brayshaw at one end, couldn't finish. Higgins at the other. 9 minutes to go, 11 points in it. Warner with the responsibility. O'Driscoll back, Taru. Yet again,
Scully.
Well, I believe that's equalised most spoils ever by St Kilda player with 14. It's outstanding from the young man. I love it. The pressure factor across the ground. As we watch this, thank you for the highlight as well. It doesn't have to get the blank spoils. Beautiful stuff.
Oh, that was a good one. Scully pushing the buttons up here as the kick from Clark up towards Voss. Caminiti and Taru was there. They went to ground. Freo kept their feet. Jackson in. Tracy. Strong hands.
He does that well, Josh Tracy. Really about the win from both Voss and Jackson at half forward. That could have gone either way and been a turnover straight back the other way. Freo finally starting to get a little bit of ascendancy in around the clearance. It's been their Achilles heel all evening.
Tracy 2 in the first quarter. 1 so far in the last. The spearhead for the Dockers as he loads up for number 4. Into the woodwork. Another poster.
The pressure from both sides has gone to a new level this quarter. This is Freo's best quarter of the game. They're up over 2.1, which is huge. St Kilda staying with them, but Freo's gone to a new level.
Marshall is in the top of your screen there. Marshall's trying to take Darcy back to go and make him defend.
2 goals in it. Wanganeen Miller up. Windhager back for the run of Wanganeen Miller up and space. And turf to burn as he goes along the wing. The kick was short. Warner, a good pickup. And Banfield over the boundary.
Not quite in win the game mode yet. Still plenty of time left on the clock as this guy still sits on the bench.
He hasn't moved all game. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not coming on at all unless required. Oh yeah, have you seen him move?
It's strange though.
Hasn't moved.
Doesn't look like he is going to be injected into the contest as the time ticks down. The free kick goes the Dockers' way. The stoppage numbers in this final quarter been a lot more even.
Yeah, a lot more even. They're +2. The Dockers, they're 10 more contested possessions. The ground balls, which they were getting absolutely smoked in, down by almost 30 to three-quarter time. And just a bit more desperate.
Kick by Johnson. Darcy out the back, Boss. Quickest to react. He couldn't keep it in play. Fremantle fighting back at three-quarter time. It's not something they've been able to do much in recent times. Since 2023, only won 1 game out of 22 when they've trailed at three-quarter time. They've pushed it to a 12-point lead in the last right now. As off hands, Clark, who's been so good all afternoon. Chapman with a neat step. Handball over the top to O'Driscoll inside 50. Darcy marks on the paint of the arc. And he's going to take his 30 seconds and try and launch one.
So just the subtle shift, Scully, is that stoppage there. The Dockers are saying, let's take a +1 this time rather than flashing up and being on them. It's a really nice step there. And this is a great kick from O'Driscoll, but a little bit of a change in the tactical structure as well.
As he got the distance, he lumbers to the 50. He strikes it long. Taru's in there again and punches it away. A few hands on it. Another one that goes into the post.
Claiming that he got that one, Scully.
Well, he did. Well, 13 points.
There's still plenty of time here. There's oodles of time for the Saints to pick this defence apart.
Wanganeen Miller up. Time becoming a factor though for St Kilda. Marshall. They go corridor. Darcy overcommitted. Allowed Marshall to turn and send it long towards Henry, who juggles a mark on 50. Feeds a handball away. Garcia on the burst. It's off target and just couldn't mark it. Was Mason Wood down there. Got the Rising Star nomination for his performance against the Saints, against Freo in round 8. Okay. All please. Confirm we don't need to go to the review, just discussion amongst the umpires that Definitely wasn't it?
Yeah, well done. I like that. They a quick chat. No need to go to the review and move on.
Under 6 minutes to play. Fremantle trying to make it 6 wins in a row. Saints trail by 12. Long ball. Darcy in position. McRae down there. And Wagner drag it back in. Marshall flicked it out. Caminiti. Ball's been brilliant. Clark's got him claimed. Disposal 30 coming up for Jordan Clark, who's having a terrific season and has been huge for Fremantle.
Yeah, enormous. So defend first. That's your job when you're playing on the half-back line.
Danger on the kick. Brayshaw had to commit. Big contact with McRae. And the boundary line wins. Frederick just trying to bite off that small kick.
Jordan Clark now the number 1 ranked player on the ground. He's surpassed Rowan Marshall. He has just been everywhere for Freo today. Have a look at that. He's had to as well. He's been one of the only ones to stand up for Freo for most of the game.
Going at 75% by foot over 500 metres gains. As it locks up again.
Okay, so the tactical move here from Ross Lyon is stretch you forward. So Hall's probably about 5 or 10 metres off this stoppage, just there on the point of the square. Every other forward, which is different to what we've seen most of the game. They're trying to open it up now.
Wagner, his bodies fell around him. Over to Rowe. And the crowd building as the ball goes long. Wilkie, Tracy. Didn't give it up. Saw it out of play.
Can you give that key forward a spoil?
Did you used to take them on as a forward? I'm surprised you know what they are. Really? So the 6 forwards in front of the ball now for St Kilda. That's to open up the stoppage. You'll see some movement here, trying to come out the front.
Down to the front. Darcy and Marshall again. Wagner found it at his feet.
The other interesting thing is that Sarong's been better this last quarter, been severely beaten across the first 3 quarters, but he's playing a bit more of a sweeping role. Instead of trying to get inside, he's allowing O'Driscoll and Wagner and Brayshaw do that.
Marshall won it down. Garcia, quick hands. Steele turned into trouble. He had an option to get rid of it. Brayshaw had him collared.
This has always been a massive part of Andy Brayshaw's game, the tackle. And he's able to get guys holding the ball a lot. It's his 6th of the day.
Brayshaw's just going to send it in. High one into the pocket. Jackson over the top. Voss turns. Dribbling kick. Another poster. Going to hit the base. It's a behind and the Saints are away.
Voss would have climbed into the stands if he kicked that.
Imagine the celebration he would have gone for. And St Kilda still have their shot if they take the game on. They've been so brave throughout the afternoon. They've fought their way. And Fremantle have got their way in front in this final quarter. Ball still alive. We are under 4 minutes now. A 13-point lead. Time critical for St Kilda.
The Rucks are a long way away from this contest. That's why it's been held up so long.
Darcy with strength. Marshall got his boot to it. Sharman. Half a chance now the Saints to go. As he wheels and sends it in. Owens, was he being held? What a terrific athletic double spike to the boundary.
He's been big on a couple of occasions. Warner, he's thrown his body at every contest in the air. 3rd man in on that occasion.
That's what the impressive part is, the 3rd man in, leaving your man, going to help your teammates. We've actually seen it from either side as well.
Only played 4 games in each of his 2 seasons before this. Now up to 14 for the year. Warner playing a critical role. And Walker in the side. Here go the Saints. Steele on the boot. Can they get a mark into the pocket? Warner there again. Just moving Carroll out of the way.
So Freo trying to play really short structure, get a lot of numbers back here with 3:20 left on the clock. Still plenty of time. Keep highlighting that, but there is.
Darcy down to the front. O'Driscoll. Can he drag it in? All up.
St Kilda throwing everyone forward now. They've got 3 players outside their own 50.
Darcy controlled it. O'Driscoll there. More seconds tick off the clock.
Ken Marshall and McRae, that's been the 2 players mostly today from stoppage.
The crowd a factor. Wagner got a handle, then knocked it on. Clark to O'Driscoll. Driscoll tackled. And another ball up.
Okay, so now this one's outside 50. There might be a little bit more space for Marshall to maybe get this one inside, flick it over his head.
Play over the top.
And if you're Sean Darcy and his midfielders, it's just drop it right in front of you, repeat stoppage, make it really hard for the Saints.
Been able to switch those clearance numbers in this final term after being dominated through the first three. Sarong takes some territory. Caminiti, Jackson, Benro.
And they've had a couple of wet and close games, Fremantle across this stretch. Last 5 or 6 weeks. They've gone to school in this area of the game with a couple of minutes left on the clock. And they hang on.
Sarong, busy, and able to extract it out to O'Driscoll. Up for Erasmus. He'll go into the pocket. Frederick backs back. Great spoil. Caminiti turns defence into attack. Gains more metres, but it's back to Sarong. He bangs it inside 50. Bounce crucial. Taru had to take it. And Jackson's got him. It's the wrong end of the ground for the Saints. Freo lock it up.
Caleb Sarong, 7 disposals. Brayshaw, 7. Clark, 6. O'Driscoll, 6. They had to get their senior core moving and playing well, and they have.
Darcy took it out of the ruck. Across the face. And boundary line. 2 minutes to go.
Fascinating, they haven't done anything with their Fife as the sub.
Well, I sort of looked at him three-quarter time, and he was sitting there with his jacket zipped up, not moving whatsoever, and it just made me think that maybe that this was always the plan. Don't play, but break class in case of emergency sort of operation, which was very close to it.
Like an emergency.
The house was on fire.
We've been able to extinguish the flames to this point. Have the Saints got one last charging them? Garcia with plenty of run and dash, and they're out on the wing with a good handball over the top for Sinclair. The Saints build towards the wing. A couple of bounces. He's waiting for someone to lead to him. Wood takes the mark. He rolls and goes. Saints go deep inside 50. Kilda there, but Tracy again. We see it time and time. Gets back to help out in defence.
That's why he's a leader. That's why he's such an important player, Josh Tracy. Deep in defence, late in the game, he's done it again.
He took the game-saving mark a couple of weeks ago against North Melbourne.
You can see him talking here as a forward who's behind the footy now. He knows where this ball needs to go.
2 goals in it. Ryan will launch it long. Bolton will leap. Wilkie in front. Saints can't waste any time. Wilkie with the footy. He steps around Bolton. Rolls reversed. Into the hot spot. Keeler's up. Big pack. Waiting down Henry. Oh, it's the snap. The goal. Saints still alive. There's a kick in it.
Whereas on the button tells you can hear it. That is Wolfie time here at Optus Stadium. Hasn't been overly successful for the Dockers, I will say, Wolfie time. I want the crowd to get involved, but St Kilda just keep coming in this game. This time it's Wilkie, goes to a big pack. Freo players all at sea once the ball hit the deck. Not enough intensity. Everyone wanted to fly, and then no one wanted to man up. And we know what centre bounce clear, it's dominance. St Kilda have had in this game, so expect this to be coming inside 50 for a chance to win that, draw the game.
13-6 out of the centre, crucial last centre square bounce coming right up.
Well, Fremantle are trying to hold on now. They're 6 points from the edge. And the Saints are thinking maybe 6 points ain't so far down. 49 seconds on the clock. Tap down, crucial clearance, Sarong. A runner bounce out of the middle. Bolton goes wide. Amos. Too far out to take his 30 seconds clearly. He had an option defensively. He'll look in towards the forward pocket. He'll go long instead. They want to mark. Jackson's down there. He's got it! Jackson in the fingertips. And that'll do it for Freo. The ruck resting forward. Who can do it all? The seconds tick down. The siren and more sound. The purple haze erupts. He sealed the result with a big mark inside 50. But Luke Jackson, when you need a moment of magic, the unicorn appears! The streak continues. Fremantle wins 6 in a row. It's a rare thing in recent seasons for Freo to come from behind at three-quarter time, but that is what they've done.
Amazing game of footy. Coming from behind. Luke Jackson celebrating his rehab down with gut.
I do have Jordan Clark alongside me. We just saw a beautiful moment with you with one of the Starlight children. This is what it's all about today.
Yeah, absolutely. The game is so much more than a game for us tonight. I mean, put a smile on those kids' faces. They've been in the club this week, and you know it's the least we can do. They're going through some bloody hard times, not just the individuals, but their whole family. So I'm extremely proud to be a part of this game.
Well done, and the kids are pumped because that was some sort of win, but it was an arm wrestle.
Yeah, no, we knew it was going to be. You know, sort of Ross fashion. He has a sort of wood on us at the moment, and he likes making the games kind of messy. And you know, throughout the week we knew that was going to happen, and it's just about who could embrace it for longer. And I felt like we did tonight.
Were you getting real round 8 vibes and flashbacks? Because it seemed a very similar game. They were out of control, the clearance and contest numbers at some points.
No, not really, no. We're such a more mature, we're a better team than we were in round 8, or whenever it was. And I mean, the other way, I was full of confidence when our times are going tough like that. I felt like we'd done the work as a group to actually swing it back around our way. So, you know, it's just a week-on-week build for us at the moment. I think that was a great step tonight.
What about Josh Tracy? A couple of goals, few goals, but it's all the work without the ball that he does. That chase down tackle, Masai, Wanganeen, Miller earlier on, and just all the pressure he adds.
Yeah, he's so much more than just a big fella who marks and kicks goals. He does everything. He lives and breathes this club. You know, he's a superstar. That's as simply as I can put it, and I love playing with him.
Maybe you love playing with Luke Jackson as well, because that was some sort of team celebration there at the end.
Yeah, no, we had, and Dogger sort of had a tough week. I hope he doesn't mind me saying he had a bit of a tough week, and at half time it was a real battle to try and get him going. He was a bit flat, and you know, I think that's just what the club's about at the moment. We love bringing blokes in and supporting them through whatever they're going through, and let them just play footy. And you know, I credit to him. His second half was phenomenal. You can tell by his intent, and that goal to top it off, it was awesome.
You are a tight group, aren't you? And you're in a 6-game winning streak now. How proud are you of how you've been able to execute this last month in particular? Because there was a lot of talk about this 3-game stretch at home, and you've been able to get the 3 wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's special that, you know, win games and bank wins, but now those games, even now, it's behind us now. We've got to move on to next week, and nothing's guaranteed. And, you know, we had to get ourselves back into the season, and we did. So, you know, nothing's guaranteed now. We've got to keep marching forward. It doesn't matter. The game doesn't care how many games we've won or lost throughout the year. It's just got to keep rocking up.
You march forward, and you've got a dual Brownlow medalist in your side. You didn't need that 5 tonight, but how good to have him in your arsenal.
It's a luxury. Yeah, I think that's the best place. You know, if we don't need him, we don't need him. And, you know, Fifey's role's changed at the club now, and he just still adds such a great level head experience. And when he comes on for a little burst, he's still got it. So, you know, he would have loved to get out there tonight, but selfishly, I don't want to put him out there and get him risk him. I want to keep him for the back end of the year. So, no, it's good to see.
He was only going to come on tonight if there was an injury, obviously.
Oh, I don't know. I'm probably putting words in Jail's mouth here, so I have no idea. But, no, I love having Fifey in the team. Even 31 disposals for Jordan Clark. Had a big game, and you see the Freo players celebrating with all the kids down there as well after a hard-fought 4 quarters.
Absolutely great scenes with the kids, not only Starlight Foundation kids that are heavily involved this week at the whole club, but just the young fans in the crowd. You saw that shot before when Jackson kicked the ball. There was just young fans everywhere for the Dockers. Sean Darcy there with one of the little kids, Starlight kids. Wonderful moment there. And the players, as Jordan Clark alluded to, embraced it so well. Caleb Sarong there with another one.
Young Mateo there for the Docker 4 a day. Giving all the high fives as well, being encouraged on by Caleb Sarong.
And he's one of the players that actually got moving in that last quarter, Caleb. 8 disposals, 4 clearances, 6 contested in that last quarter, and they really got going. They had 8 more clearances, 9 more ground ball gets, and 10 more contested possessions for 5 goals in the last quarter. So they battled all day. It didn't necessarily work for them, as Josh Tracy gets up close and personal with some fans there, but they got it done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the vision with the kids and watching it down the ground now, it's just brilliant what Freo do, and this has been a long part of what they've done as a football club, and I know it means something to the players too. Sometimes there's rounds or there's causes that get thrown around, but this isn't one of those. This is something that really hits deep for a lot of the players, especially fathers in the group or coaches, parents of the kids. It's just brilliant seeing this. This will just be a life moment for some of these kids. If you talk about players back to the footy that really stood up, I mean, Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy's on screen there, but Luke Jackson, he doesn't do what he did in that last quarter as a ruckman. If Sean Darcy is not in the side, Luke Jackson does not do what he just did, which is just win the game.
Right, but in the big moments late, Sean Darcy was huge as well. He had 17 disposals, 41 hit-outs, and when it mattered most in the centre square bouts, and when the Saints were coming late, he just dropped it down the throat of his midfield.
There was some numbers going around this week around the sort of side that Freo has been with Sean Darcy in the side this year, and they were significantly better side with Luke Jackson as the solo ruck for points for and advantage to them. But the games I've seen with them together, you use this one as the example, the 2 rucks work. They absolutely work, and Freo is a better side with them both in the side playing well. And you can't forget that Luke Jackson standing up for those 2 goals. He does not do that as a ruckman. He's not there. He's in the middle of the ground.
And Darcy kicked a goal himself in the final quarter as well. And eventually they were to work over the top, and it's such a massive turnaround as the kids get in position as well. Such a massive turnaround from 3-quarter time, because the numbers that the Saints were producing their midfield, they just didn't get enough reward earlier on in the game for what they were doing at the clearances. As the kids get to lead them off, the Starlight kids, Nicholas, Mateo, Page, Grayson, Luca, all heading into the rooms. They'll be all smiles and celebrating. What a moment for them. Able to lead the side off. Starlight Foundation's mission is to brighten the lives of children facing serious illness. The smiles don't get much bigger than the ones down there from most of those kids. Perhaps it's a little noisy too for some. It's about to get a lot noisier as well when they sing the song.
No, it's a moment they'll remember. So too the families that go through so much with these kids and the staff. It's such a great connection the Fremantle Footy Club have with the Starlight Foundation, and the families will get to enjoy this alongside the kids down there in the change rooms.
Fremantle come from behind to win a game of footy for just the 2nd time since the start of 2023. As they huddle up again, there'll be a loud rendition, you'd think. It was the Dockers by 12.
This program brought to you by now.
All right, folks, there we go. The Dockers got up there, Eddie G. He's a happy boy. I tell you what, the Dockers 11-15-81 defeating the Saints 9-15, 69. I tell you what, wow, that's all I got to say. 5 goals, 5. The Dockers in that final term. 2 goals, 3 to the Saints. Tell you what, there was no abiding. We didn't think the Dockers were going to get there, but then they did. And then the Saints, we thought were going to come back. But I tell you what, that's the difference in Freo, I think, this year, as we'll all attest to that. Freo starting to win the close games and not give those games up, which is always going to be vitally important coming to the pointy end of the season. Tell you what, when we look at the ladder, the Dockers cement their spot in the top 8. That's right, the Dockers. They've got the Swans next week up there at the SCG. That's going to be a big game for the Dockers to really prove themselves next week. If they can do this and continue their run, 6 in a row so far. Can they make it 7? But they've got to travel to the SCG. It's got to be not easy, of course. The Swans played pretty good in round 16 against the Bulldogs. The Saints gave it a good shot against the Dockers. The Saints brought pressure today, but the Dockers were able to respond like good sides do. So that was just fantastic. I tell you what, the Dockers makes a few people happy. You know what? We're pretty happy the Dockers won. We'll have a look at the ladder in a moment. We're happy the Dockers won. Good to see them in there. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. Who ended up scoring them? Josh Tracy topped the table for the Dockers with 3. Luke Jackson, I tell you what, this guy is a star for Freo. He's a star. He is definitely one big key component to Fremantle's success. 15 disposals, 6 kicks, 2 goals, 1. 16 hitouts. He's fantastic. Murphy Reed got 1. O'Driscoll got 1. Dudley, Darcy, Clark, and Shai Bolton, no other single goal scorer. So plenty of them there for the Dockers today. For the Saints, Isaac Keeler got a couple. Wanganeen Miller just the 1. Owens, Marshall, Higgins, Henry, Hall were the goal scorers with Dan Butler for the Saints. The ball magnets, well, Jordan Clark topped the table there for the Dockers, 31. The only one in 30. 19 kicks, 12 handballs, 10 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances. Kicked a sausage roll. Well done, Squire. The only one that reached the 30 disposal mark on the day. Wanganeen Miller, the best for the Saints on 28. Jack McRae, next best, 26. Andy Brayshaw had a pretty good final quarter, ended up with 25, 2 clearances and a behind. So he lifted when it counted. Jack Steele, Garcia, 24-22. There we go. Tell you what, it was a pretty close game. Caleb Sarong, he lifted also, I think, in that final term up to 18, 9 clearances. So it was over the Fremantle mids got their work and their act together, getting a bit more of the clearance work in that final quarter. First touch on the ball, clearing it, and certainly helped in their performance in that final quarter, getting them over the line against a gallant Saints that never gave up, that put on a fantastic spectacle. And just as we thought, it was a pretty epic final quarter was this game today. Just looking at the team stats now, it was plus 38 to the Saints' disposals overall. The Dockers, let's just have a look at the scores. There we go. 49 inside 50s for the Dockers, 26 scoring shots, so they did quite well in that aspect. And, of course, for the Saints, pretty good also. They only went inside 41 times, but, gee whiz, they scored 24 times. Pretty good. Can't get much better than that. There we go. Free kick count, just plus 4 to the Dockers, 21. 17 hit-outs. Dockers certainly won that by a fair margin, by 31. The clearances was plus 15 to the Saints, plus 6 in centre clearances, and plus 9 in stoppage clearances. But the Dockers did do well in getting some of those clearances back in that final term. Jason, how you doing? UFC 317, boys. There we go. Oh, good stuff. Yes, I think I saw something about the UFC happening. It was good stuff. All right, contested possessions. Both teams contested pretty well. Only 7 the difference. Only 30 in uncontested. Tell you what a game. Turnovers. This is really good number for Freo. Just a 48 turnovers. Well under. Probably a good 24% under their season average. Saints just above their season average. So They're good to see the Dockers reasonably clean with the ball. The marks pretty high for both teams. Inside 50 marks. I tell you what, Tracy was good inside forward 50, wasn't he? 15-7 with the marks inside forward 50. Contested marks pretty tight there, 13-11. We have a look at the tackle count now, both on pretty much season average, which is good. Also very good to see both teams, it was the same. Both teams are bringing the pressure today. It was just a fantastic game. 11-14, both going above season average in their forward 50 tackle. So that is fantastic to see. We love to see that. And there we go. All right, now for Eddie G. All the the rugby. Name the sport, right? This game is AFL football, Australian rules football. So, yeah, this is with the oval ball. This isn't the rugby. This is football, Australian rules football. This one, Jason. That's the name of this sport. AFL, that's right. Flag Mantle 25. Cheers for that. As we have a look at the ladder now as they sit, of course, Fremantle started today in 8th position, but with that win, I tell you what, they will realise come into the season how important that was. Win today, that now takes them up into 6th spot. And so I tell you what, they're only percentage outside of the top 4. Of course, if they had a loss today, well, who knows what could have happened. It could have just about been a season-defining moment for Fremantle today. And I think, you know what? I think that's exactly what this game was today for Fremantle. A season-defining moment. You are sitting in 6th position. So they are 1 game clear inside the top 8. And it was, as I said, very, very important win because we've got the Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast Suns and the Giants chirping at their heels on 36 points, just 1 game behind them. And don't forget, the Gold Coast Suns still have that 1 game in hand to play against Essendon. So if that's the case, then Fremantle really do need to win and win their next few games. I tell you what, next week's not going to be too easy, of course. For next week for St Kilda, I tell you what, it's no easy game for St Kilda next week. Next week, the Saints next Saturday night, they play at Marvel Stadium. They're playing Hawthorn, who sit in 5th spot. So Fremantle fans, you'll be cheering on the Saints next week with all your might. You'll definitely be cheering on the Saints next week to beat Hawthorn. Hawthorn sitting 5th, Fremantle sitting 6th, and of course, for the Dockers next week. Next Sunday, 1:10 p.m. game up there at the SCG. Sydney Swans will be hosting Fremantle at the SCG. That's going to be an interesting, tell you what, that really will be an interesting game. Sydney Swans played well against the Bulldogs this week. Freo played really well against the Saints this week. Can Freo continue their running streak? Can they make it 7 in a row? Time will tell, folks. I tell you what, let's hope for the Fremantle Dockers fans that is the case. And Fremantle can continue, make it 7 in a row. I think if they continue, if they jump out of the gates really quick and put the pressure on Sydney, then Sydney, they might be able to break Sydney and make Sydney crumble. Of course, Sydney, we know, a pretty good unit. They're a little bit hot and cold. So that's where Fremantle need to take advantage of that situation and do the job they need to do. They know they need to keep winning Freo to make sure that they are in. How many rounds? Actually, there's 24 rounds. 24 rounds. Of course, 24 rounds. 23 rounds. And the last round is to be confirmed. Round 24 is to be confirmed. So I'm looking at the fixture. Actually, I tell you what, the final round, round 24, could certainly be a defining moment for Fremantle Dockers. Their final round is the Western Bulldogs, so that's going to be that's going to be an interesting. But I tell you what, if they're in the top 8, that'll be a good test for them. I think I think sometimes it's good to have a little bit tougher match going into the finals. If you are sitting in the top 8, than a cushy, cozy run. I think you need to play the good teams. And no matter who you play, you've got to beat them if you're going to be holding the cup up at the end of the year. You certainly do earn it. But that being said, you want to be pretty well injury-free, or you want to have a pretty well full list going into that time of year as well. But hey, tell you what a fantastic game. Fremantle Dockers 2 goals winners over the Saints. Of course, the ruckman kicked a goal after the siren, so it was 6-point margin. There was 49 seconds on the clock when the ball went back into the centre. So that's what St Kilda had, 49 seconds to get it down, get a goal, tie it up, and run again. But it was the Dockers. It was Caleb Strong who took the clearance out of the centre, kicked it down, and there we go. Got the big mark from the ruckman for Freo, who's just fantastic. And there we go. Everyone celebrated. I think there was just about a packed house there at Optus Stadium there in Perth. Look, I think the fans, they got, they're quietly confident going into, the final 8 games of the home and away season. I think they're quietly confident. I think they would have liked to see what they saw today. And, of course, that is that the Dockers can win those tight games, those close games, which I know in the past they've sort of had a little bit of trouble. Soccer sucks. Hey, Stephen, there you go. Neil, this is not soccer. This is AFL football. This is the best game in the world. Check it out. You'll certainly love it. You'll certainly love it. All right, folks. Hey, that's all I've got for this one. We did have the poll, the live poll in who was going to win this, and of course, it was a very decisive poll. 83% did go for the Fremantle Dockers to win this. So well done everyone in the live chat. We got that one right today. We did get that one right today, so that's fantastic. But I just have to say thanks everyone for coming on in. And of course, as Emmanuel says, as we always say, Eddie G, hot pies, go pies. But there we go. Today, Freo, way to go. Hit him with a high and hit him with a low. Freo, Freo, Freo. Freo Dockers. There we go. There we go. Good old Freo. They did it. Fantastic. 2-goal win over the Saints today. Fantastic. That ends up round 16. Just in case the folks out there were just wondering who were the winners in round 16. Of course, let me just recap that. It was Port Adelaide, 50-point winners over Carlton. The Western Bulldogs had a 9-point win over Sydney. The Gold Coast Suns, 19-point winners over Melbourne up there at People's First Stadium. North Melbourne absolutely got shellacking by Hawthorn. It was an 85-point win to the Hawks over North Melbourne. Collingwood, I tell you what, that was nearly a bit of a wobbly game from them, but they got the job done, 29 points, defeating West Coast. Of course, today, Adelaide, a very, very convincing win over Richmond, by 66 odd points. And of course, to round out round 16, it was the Dockers by 2 goals. All right, let's just quickly double check next week. I did have the fixture up here somewhere. Let me bring it back to the fixture and I'll tell you the games for next week when it all kicks off again. Round 17, that's all happening and kicks off next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. North Melbourne taking on the Western Bulldogs next Thursday night. Of course, Friday night football, match of the round, well, maybe. Carlton taking on Collingwood MCG, Friday night football. That's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding-ding game. Hey, tell you what, we've got a double header on Friday night. West Coast Eagles taking on the GWS Giants. That's also happening there on Friday night. But we'll be covering the Carlton-Collingwood game for everyone out there. And, of course, Saturday, we've got Essendon taking on the Gold Coast Suns. So, I don't know whether they'll play 2 games in a row or what they'll do, but these 2 teams need to play that extra game. So I'm not sure when they're going to actually play that. Of course, Saturday afternoon, Geelong taking on Richmond down there at GMHBA Stadium. Should be a big win for Geelong. And, of course, Saturday evening should be a fantastic game between the Brisbane Lions and Port Adelaide. And, of course, we've got St Kilda and Hawthorn. Brisbane playing at the Gabba against Port, and of course at Marvel Stadium, the Saints and the Hawks. I don't know who I'll do there. Maybe the Lions, that'll do. And of course on Sunday, folks, we've got Sydney Swans taking on Fremantle Dockers. I can't believe Freo are going in there as underdogs. Sydney is favourite. That's a little bit surprising. And of course to round out round 17 next week, it's the Adelaide Crows taking on Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval. There we go. So that are your winners for round 16. That's the upcoming matches for round 17, folks. Hey, Mark, how you going? What did you think of the Pies game last night? I tell you what, their game last night I think was a little bit sloppy. It's a little bit like thinking, you know what? We're the number one side. We're playing the bottom side. We just have to come out, show up, and we'll get the job done. We don't have to, you don't have to worry too much, you know. But you know, and then you know, with them doing that, West Coast Eagles actually came out and played pretty good in that game. And then because West Coast, you know, Collingwood allowed them to stay so close to them and be in front up into half time, I think it was. You know, West Coast just had that belief, and you know, they put the pressure on the Pies and whatnot. But you know, finally the Pies stood up when it counted. But you know, just the same, I think. Look, I think there was a lot of players who, you know, they just didn't have the best of games. It was a bit too much over handballing, etc., like that. But look, in the end, all you have to do is win. So thank goodness they won. You know, I think that was just one of those games the Pies had. Like some teams have those games when they have that bizarre loss. And I think that could have been that one game Collingwood had last night where they were just off. They were just off a little bit, but were still able to get the job done. So luckily they got that. So you know they can still afford to have another loss or something. Jim, how you going, Jim? Been 2.5 games clear. Just having a look at the ladder for you, Mark. There we go. There is the ladder. Collingwood sitting on top of the ladder after round 15. 13 wins, 2 losses, and just to put into perspective, Mark, you remember Collingwood, the opening round, they got smashed by the Giants, 104-52. So the Pies have won 12 games and lost 1 in the past. What's that? 14 rounds or 14 rounds or 13 rounds. That's what they've done. Won 12, lost 1. So they've been really on song. Brisbane Lions sitting on second on 42 points, 2.5 games off top. And of course, then it is just a bottleneck. I tell you what, the crowd is happening. It's a convoy. Adelaide Crows, Geelong, Hawthorn, Fremantle all sit on 40 points. Only percentage separating them. And of course, to round out the top 8, Western Bulldogs on 36, Gold Coast Suns on 36. And of course, chomping at the heels, GWS Giants on 36 points. Also, I think they are your teams that will contend for the top 8 this season. Tell you what, she's going to be interesting, especially I think Adelaide and Geelong probably should win next week. Fremantle, I'm not sure. Hawthorn should probably just about win. I would expect the Dogs to win. Gold Coast Suns, I'm not too sure, although let me just have a bit of a look. That'll be an interesting game because the Gold Coast Suns actually play the Bombers at Marvel Stadium. So that's one that the Bombers might actually be able to get up over the top with a little bit of a surprise win there. But it should be really, really interesting. You know, the next few rounds are really going to start to sort it out. Tell you what, we're in for a cracking final 8 games of the home and away season, and then we'll get into the finals action. And it's just going to be a ripper because, well, you know what? It could be just any, although Collingwood's, you know, doing everything. Give me half a score. Half a score of what, Philip? Half a score of what, bro? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean, half a score. But there we go. Even though Collingwood's doing it really well and they're taking every stride, you know, taking each step as it comes, and 2.5 games clear, I think the other teams in the top 8, if they play at their best, you know, I think it could be pretty much anyone's premiership this season at the present time as it stands. As it stands, you know, they're all got to probably chase Collingwood down as being the best side so far at the moment. But, you know, on any given day, I think the best football, you know, any one of those top 8 sides can just about get the job done over one of the others. Just all depends on the day, folks. All depends on the day. That is for sure. Hey, that's all I got for this one. Thanks everyone for coming on in. Thanks Philip, Mark, Jim, Emmanuel, Addy G, Stephen, Jason, everyone else, Tina, Chia, of course, M King. Cheers, bro. Amani, and everyone else. Harley, Harley Harding, good game, he said. Good game. Well done. Thanks a lot. Absolutely fantastic. All right, folks. Hey, don't forget, just hit that like when you're heading on out. I'll always appreciate it. Yeah. So thanks very much. Have a good week. Have a fantastic evening, Mark. Don't forget Grand Prix on. If you're going to watch your Grand Prix, I think that start kicks off at around 10 p.m. Melbourne time. It's usually about an hour after that. Race time, Piastri. We'll be cheering on Piastri. He's coming on. He's sitting third on the grid. I think Norris is one on the grid. The Ferrari driver's second. And, of course, I think it's Piastri third. So hopefully he should go all right. The McLarens are going really well around this track that's made for the McLaren. So should be pretty good race tonight, the Formula One. If you have something like that, you can watch it. Definitely watch it. It's a shame. I'd love to do the Formula One, but I actually got a strike when I did Formula One once, and I only showed like the times. So yeah, I won't do that. I mean, halftime score for the games today. This is for today's game. This was the halftime here. At halftime, the Dockers were 5-5-35 and St Kilda were 4-8-32. So you got quarter. This is the first quarter scores, the second quarter scores, third quarter scores, and the full time scores. So the Dockers kicked 2 goals 2 in the first term, and then after half time they were 5 goals 5, 6 goals 10 at 3/4 time, and then 11 goals 15 they finished off with. There we go. I don't think the timeline. No, the timeline. No, that's pretty much the same. The timeline. You can see that there. There we go. So these are the scores, and the Saints kicked 1 goal 5 in the first term, and then after the first quarter they were up to 4 goals 8 in the second, 7 goals 12 up until the third, and 9 goals 15. So that's where they ended up. So in the second half of football, 6 goals 10 the Dockers kicked, and in the second half of football for the Saints, 5 goals 7 the Saints kicked against the Dockers. So there we go. There we go. All right, fantastic. All right, folks. Hey, that is all I've got for this one. Thanks for all coming in. Hope you enjoyed the football over round 16 and today's games. We certainly enjoyed it here. And until next time, next Thursday, where we'll kick off round 17, North Melbourne versus Western Bulldogs. That's me. Over now. Ciao for now. And we'll see you at the next game.